What's going on, everyone? Jeremy Gray here, and today I want to talk about my new camera, the Nikon Z6. I want to tell you why I bought it, but I didn't want to just stand in front of the camera and talk. I wanted to go on a hike, so I figured why not make a vlog out of it. Let's get into it. So I've kind of been in the market for a camera, sort of for about 1.5 years to almost 2 years. I used to shoot a Nikon D3S for my weddings and events, but I sold that, and since then I've been using this Canon M50 as well as my wife's D750 by Nikon. So I had options available, which is why I kind of held off. And if you're curious about where I am, I came to a trail called Sunset Overlook in Williston, Vermont. I actually came here last week to make this video, but then it started downpouring. So I had to run out of the trail and I barely started the video, so that's how that went. So buying a camera is not really something that I want to take lightly. It's a pretty big decision for me. I don't have the luxury to just buy a bunch of cameras to try out and then keep them all or sell some. Just too time consuming, too much money. Snake just scared the crud out of me. It was right in the middle of the trail. I'm just walking all of a sudden, I just hear this big rustling. It's not big, it's quite small, it's like 1 foot long, but it did scare me. So I stopped to try to use the giant zoom lens on the first snake I saw. I say first because another one just jumped out in front of me after the first one. I think they're out to get me today, but now they've definitely got me on edge and I can't stop staring at the ground. I'm not a huge fan of snakes, even though I know these ones are harmless. They're like little brown tree snakes. So I tried taking a video of the snake with the Nikon Z6 with the 70-200 lens on. So yeah, buying a camera for me is no easy task. And I thought for a long time that I was gonna stick with Nikon, which of course I did, now that you're watching this video. But I was on edge for a while now, maybe over 1 year. I was highly considering switching to Canon because I want to up my video performance, which also on the same token, I was highly considering switching to Sony. So I know saying switching to Canon might sound confusing since I'm currently shooting on a Canon M50, and many of you that follow my channel know that I shoot a Canon M50 for the last like 2 years now for my YouTube channel. But I'm more so just meant for photography because Nikon is my go-to for photography. I shot it professionally for 9 years. I have 5 pieces of glass. For the system I had more, but I sold them because I never used them. So in my fantasy world for a camera, I'd be able to vlog with it, take videos with it, which is vlogging I guess, and shoot photos with it, all with one camera, because that's just my little fantasy world that I live in. It's not insanely realistic because having 2 cameras is really, really helpful, but I wanted a camera that could do both. And I really was heavily considering switching to the Canon R for a while. And then when they announced the R5, or when the fake R5 specs, or some of which were true, the R5 specs got released, that also made me pretty excited. I really like the look of that camera, and now that it's actually out, it is a phenomenal camera. But still, I wasn't completely convinced to switch over to Canon. I really wasn't. I also didn't want to go through the hassle of selling all of my Nikon glass. Plus my wife shoots the D750, so it's nice to be able to use the same glass from time to time. I need to put that away because carrying it around my neck is really, really not comfortable. But really, I've always had my eye on the Z6. I really, really like the camera. I've watched a ton of reviews on it. And I know a lot of people have some bad things to say about Nikon, some bad things to say about their video quality. But you know what? Most of the people who are saying this stuff haven't even tried using a Nikon camera. Like, honestly. So, unless you've shot Nikon extensively, like, don't really have an opinion. Like me, I've never shot Sony. I have no opinion of Sony. Personal opinion. I know that they're great cameras, and I know the ups and downs from what people tell me, but I've never shot it, so I'm not gonna go comment on a video or photo say, you know, Sony is not great. Wow, I'm out of breath. It's kind of hot today in Vermont. It's like 90 Fahrenheit, which for Vermont is hot, I guess. I'm moving to Guam, so I better get used to it. So one of the things I thought of that really solidified my decision to buy the Nikon Z6 and stick with Nikon was the fact that I'm a photographer first. And photography is my passion, it is my love. I love photography, and I know obviously Canon and Sony are great photo cameras, but Nikon is just a brand that I love, I have fallen in love with over the years, and that I personally trust for my photography needs. That being said, I still wanted a camera with good video capabilities. And on paper, the Z6 has quite amazing video capabilities. Am I even in focus? Sun, bright. Oh, ankle's rolling. People complain about the autofocus. I'm lucky to have got the camera when firmware 3.0 is already out. And I personally haven't really had any issues with the autofocus. Should probably pay attention to where I'm going. I almost just went up the wrong way. Didn't stand the trail because I was staring at the camera the whole time. Pay attention when you're vlogging. It's something I forget to do often. I know there's too many ways to go. I'm gonna follow the arrows. Where do I go? I wonder if that's literally the overlook right there. Like, is that it? Am I gonna walk through that patch of golden light and just come to this amazing overlook? I've never been here, so I don't know what to expect. I've only seen pictures on the internet. Let's find out. Holy. Sun's a different beast out here. Still another sign for the overlook. Keep going. Right on. Right on you. This is the overlook. I guess not completely what I was expecting, though this would probably be a really sick spot to bring a drone. Which I didn't bring it because I didn't want to be distracted. Just wanted to focus on talking about the Nikon. But I think I've clearly, it's sunny, clearly been distracted this whole time. Let's talk more about the Nikon. So a feature that the Z6 has that I'm really excited for is 120 frames a second in full HD 1080p. I don't have that in the M50. It only has it in HD, not full HD. So I'm excited to be able to play with 120 and get some really cool slow motion with it. Something else that I thought was a con at first, but I'm not realizing it's pretty much a pro to the camera, is that it takes the QXD or CF Express cards. And a lot of you might not like that. I didn't like it at first either. I'm like, why do I want to invest hundreds of dollars more into a new memory card system when I have 30 SD cards lying around from over the last 5 or 8 years? But then, you know, you start to really think and you realize that this is sort of the way of the future, and also the QXD and the CF Express cards are significantly more rugged than SD cards. That might be more useful for like someone who's in, you know, a Nat Geo shooter or someone who's constantly in challenging environments. I do like the security and the state of mind and whatever, peace of mind, knowing that my memory card probably won't fail. I don't want to jinx it, knock on my head. But, you know, it's a lot more rugged than the SDs. And in the long run, I appreciate that because I do like to travel to different climates and different places and put the camera through different paces. So the CF Express being more rugged is actually quite the bonus for me. And, I mean, you pay for what you get. They're expensive, but they're great. And honestly, they're really not that much more expensive than, say, like the Sony Tough cards, the SDs. So you really got to put that into perspective as well. So I've set the camera up on the tripod with this 7200 and I'm shooting a time lapse because I'm going to try out the time lapse mode on the camera. I'm shooting it in 4K because why not? And it should be out about 15 seconds. And I don't know, I haven't used the time lapse mode on the Z6 yet, so I figured now is a great opportunity to try it because it's a cute composition and the clouds are in the sky, and that's my reason. I just want to try it out. So speaking of 4K, another thing that I love about the Z6 is that it does not cripple your 4K, it does not crop in like many other cameras do. I know the EOS R does it, the M50 obviously does that, and while I won't be shooting all of my videos in 4K, it's nice to have the option because if I'm shooting something and I want to zoom in, and I know I want to zoom in, at least then I can shoot 4K and crop in and not lose the resolution, and that'll be nice, which is also why I'm shooting this time-lapse in 4K. Well, that's not why. I'm shooting this time-lapse in 4K so it's more timeless and it lasts longer to the ever-evolving resolutions that they're coming out with for these cameras and screens. So from the back of the camera, that time lapse looked really, really good. So I'm gonna have to see what it looks like on the computer, and you'll have already saw it. So let me know down in the comments what you thought. But my camera is boiling because it was just in direct sunlight for about 20 minutes. So it's just something I had to catch myself with, which ultimately also led to help me choose to decide to buy the Z6 was to stop getting caught up in all the hype around other camera brands. YouTube is such a great place to do research, but it's also such a toxic place when it comes to representing camera brands, because a lot of people on the internet and on YouTube specifically shoot Canon or Sony. And for good reason. They're excellent, excellent cameras, but just because there's not, everyone using Nikon doesn't mean that you should knock on Nikon or Nikon's doing anything wrong. So I really had to ask myself, was I willing to switch to Canon or Sony because I truly, truly wanted to, or was I just trying to keep up with the hype and be like everyone else? And the answer that I pretty much came up with was I was keeping up with the hype. I wanted to be like everyone else, sort of, and at the end of the day, that's not really who I am. I don't really want to be like anyone or everyone else. I do draw inspiration from other YouTubers, I think we all do, but I love Nikon, so I stuck with Nikon, and I'm super happy with my decision. And now some of you may be wondering, does this mean that I'm going to stop using my M50 or get rid of my M50? And that is not the case. I love the Canon M50, and it's going to stay with me for quite some time, especially until I master the Z6. I've had certain thoughts lately, like wouldn't it make more sense for me to buy a Z50? It has the same mount as the Z6, so I could use all the same lenses on it, but I don't need to do that because I love my M50 and I already have it, and I don't need to sell it. It's such a splendid little camera. It's so much smaller than the Z6, so I'm going to keep this camera around for quite some time. So all my M50 viewers, fret not, the M50 is sticking around, and more content revolving around the M50 will definitely be coming out. That was a lot of time up there. I think that was actually close to an hour, which I'm sure for some landscape photographers out there is nothing, but I'm going to head back down because I still have to go food shopping, and I'm about an hour and 20 minutes away from home, so I should probably get home soon, huh? I also apologize that this vlog is kind of all over the place. I didn't have anything scripted out. My only clear direction was that I wanted to talk about the Nikon Z6 and kind of give you a few points as to why I bought it while just taking a hike through nature and exploring that. So hope this wasn't too confusing for you, or at least it was hopefully slightly entertaining and you got something out of it, I hope. Alright, I made it out of the trail. I cannot believe I forgot my water in the car. And to top it all off, I forgot my water bottle at home, like just my Nalgene, so I had to buy water. I still forgot this in the car, so that means I forgot my water twice. Huh. Oh my, that's warm. That's, this is water. I don't know what kind of ice cream you all usually like, but Ben & Jerry's recently came out with this flavor, Netflix and chilled. And if you have the opportunity to get this, I highly recommend it. It is delicious. It's peanut butter with sweet and salty pretzel swirls and fudge brownies. Either way, it's just really, really delicious. And this is the non-dairy version because vegan. And if you don't like ice cream, well, then I'm sorry. That's sad. Or it's not. But if you're lactose intolerant, get the non-dairy one. It's delicious.